Welcome to This Place. Each week we ask Oregonians about the places that matter to them, where they live, where they work, and where they find meaning and joy. This week we hear from Lowell Greathouse in Forest Grove.
I'm a retired United Methodist minister, and my wife Susan and I moved to Forest Grove in 2012 with our daughter, who was going to Pacific University at the time doing graduate work. And we moved out here, both of us having at that time worked in Portland. And so we commuted between Forest Grove and Portland. So it was a move out from a more urban setting to this smaller community. And we really have valued that move because one of the things that was really true for us was when we finished work and we drove along the Sunset Highway and came out here, pretty soon you were in farmland. And so whatever work you did, coming to Forest Grove was a place on the way out to let the stresses of the city and the stresses of work fall by the wayside in the fields before you got home, which was a wonderful experience. I grew up outside of Portland in a small community called Cedar Mill on Cornell Road. And so for me, that community in some ways is like how Forest Grove is now for me, because it was in proximity to Portland. It wasn't that far away. But in those years, to go shopping or where my dad worked was in Portland. And so we went, kind of over the hill and into Portland. So it felt like we were in a more isolated situation living. I mean, there was a hayfield next to our house, for example. And when I would go out the back door of our home, I could walk from my backyard up to Skyline, and it was all forest. There were no homes there then. So when we ended up moving to Forest Grove, in some ways, this experience is not unlike that. I mean, I live in a housing development. There's a lot of people moving to Forest Grove now, but we're surrounded by farmland. Fern Hill wetlands is nearby, so we walk there regularly. There's forest nearby. So in some ways, it is that kind of childhood experience for me once again, to live in a community where I have access to nature. The Fern Hill wetlands is literally 5 or 7 minutes from my home. Can you imagine the privilege, the luxury of being able to live in a place where you can drive for a few minutes and you're walking along and you're seeing great blue herons, egrets, flocks of geese and ducks. You walk a mile walk around the large wetland area, and you're going to see friends like the eagles who live in the tree, and they're there pretty much when you go. There really are no words for that kind of experience. When you have it, you just soak it in and savor it. I grew up on Cornell Road. I lived most of my life in the Tualatin Valley, west of Portland and Washington County. I went to school at the Claremont Colleges in Los Angeles. I went to seminary in San Francisco, worked for Catholic Charities in San Francisco. I've lived and did my internship in seminary in Cuernavaca, Mexico, at the Cuernavaca Center for Intercultural Dialogue on Development. And yet, whenever I got on the plane and passed Mount Hood and came down the Columbia River Gorge, I was in tears because I knew I was home. I've traveled a lot of places in the world and lived in some, but this is home. There's a lot of different places in the world that are beautiful, and I get the privilege of living in one of them.
That was Lowell Greathouse in Forest Grove. This Place is produced by Oregon Humanities and edited by John Richardson. To hear more stories from This Place, visit OregonHumanities.org or subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for listening.